everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys. My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show. This is where we discover what and who we are in this journey called life. I don't have a chat box up yet, so let me look at that. I'll have to switch back and forth to see the comments. So we're back to that, yeah. How is everybody for a Monday night? So we're looking at some really hot weather in the next couple of days. So it's perfect to bring back the Jinn show, which I know you guys have been waiting on. But, been a little bit under the weather, and you can kind of tell by looking at me, I'm sure. This is my summer hairdo. So the long ringlets are going to be put up. It's so hot. Can't do it right now. But that's okay. Let me go back to layers. Yeah. Okay. Housekeeping updates. So I know a lot of you have been a little bit curious as to what's going on with the health situation. Things with my back have ground to a complete halt because for whatever reason, my blood counts dropped really, really low. It takes a long time to build your blood back up once you lose it. And so I'm going to be tired for quite a while, up to a month. I'm on iron. We don't know where the blood went. Although I have suspicions about what happened when I had that augmentin reaction. I think that I probably bled a little bit with that. Hey to Janice, and she's saying that things aren't working with YouTube. So let's see. I may have to just upload to YouTube. It says it's connected, but if you're not seeing it, you're not seeing it, right? So what do you do? Anyway, so back to the blood thing. We got to figure out what happened with that. And then, so that means I got to have a scope in July. And when I went to the emergency room on Mother's Day, they drew a lot of blood work. And then that's when they found out all the blood was, way down. So I had a redraw done the next week just to make sure it wasn't a lab error, and it wasn't a lab error. So they sent off a bunch of other tests and found that I have this. Now, say that 6 times fast. It's MGUS, monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance. Is a blood disorder that affects plasma cells in your bone marrow. Most of the time, M proteins don't cause issues, and most people with MGUS don't have symptoms. Some people with this condition may develop a blood cancer or more serious blood disorder, and that's what we're trying to figure out. So, in other words, we wait and we test and we wait some more and we test some more and we wait some more. So, that's what's going on with that. Hey to Deb Hoskins. Okay, thanks, Janice. So she took another look and it is on YouTube, so good. I just want to make sure everything is working like it's supposed to. Even if my body isn't working, maybe something else can work for a change, right? Let's talk about the Jinn, because I know you guys have been waiting for this for a while, and I've been waiting to feel better to do it. So, some people call them genies, but the correct terminology is Jinn. And in Arabic, mythology, it's a spirit inhabiting the earth but unseen by humans, capable of assuming various forms and exercising extraordinary powers. Belief in the jinn was common in pre-Islamic Arabia. Their existence was affirmed in the Quran, and they are conceptualized in Islam as creatures parallel to human beings who are capable of choosing good or evil and must thus face salvation or damnation. Now, in Islamic culture, they're expressed as beings of smokeless flame in nature. And in the same manner in which humans are said to be made of earth, they cannot be seen by humans, although there are many, many accounts that have been documented of people seeing these creatures. Their favorite figures in North African culture: Egyptian, Syrian, Persian, and Turkish folklore. In fact, they were mentioned in a lot of popular literature, actually. Specifically, the one that's most noted is The 1001 Nights. And so they're specifically related to in that famous writing. In common folklore, jinn are capable of assuming human or animal form, which means they're shapeshifters, and are said to dwell in all conceivable inanimate objects such as stones and trees, ruins, beneath the earth, in the air, and in the fire. And you know what this reminds me of? This really kind of reminds me of, there's so many similarities in how they appear and how they shapeshift to the Celtic Sidhe or the fairies, because the fairies do a lot of similar things as the jinn. So this was, so the more that I investigated that, the more that I found out there are so many similarities between the jinn and the sidhe. They possess the bodily needs of human beings and can even be killed, but they are free from all physical restraints. So possess a fluidity going from tangible to intangible. So you can kill them, and they do have a lot of the needs that humans do, but they have this fluidity that prevents them from having the same physical restraints that we do. Now, the jinn delight in punishing humans for any harm done to them. That's just like the Celtic Sidhe. Celtic Sidhe have the same type of behaviors. Now, and the thing is, you can unintentionally do harm, and these creatures will hold you responsible, same as the Celtic Sidhe. So in Celtic folklore, there's a lot of do's and don'ts about interactions or preventing interactions with the Celtic Sidhe. However, I did not find a lot of do's and don'ts with preventing interactions with the jinn. Okay, so human beings have been known to exploit the jinn to their advantage, same as Celtic Sidhe. They most often, the most frequent accounts, or I should say the most recent accounts, are of the ghoul class of jinn. And these ghouls constitute a certain class of jinn these are shape-shifting type of spirits, and they're mostly diabolical and evil. And the most recent accounts that I found were of ghoul encounters, specifically with the military in the Middle East. There's a specific documented situation where a group of military men encountered some ghouls, class of Jinn, at some ruins. And there was a skirmish that happened. And as the military approached these ghouls, I think that they disappeared. I think that they all disappeared one by one. Now, a lot of these stories are on the YouTube channel Mysterious Middle East. And the stories on there are really quite fascinating. You should really give them a look-see. Okay, Mysterious Middle East. And I think that the story about the military encounter with the ghouls is on one of those videos. Although generally invisible, Jinn are supposed to be composed of thin and subtle bodies and can change at will. They favor, though, that their favorite shape-shifting experience, I think, is a snake form, but can also choose to appear as scorpions, lizards, or as humans. Now, when they appear as humans, most often in a lot of the stories, they will recount that the lower part of the body is often covered and that they will have hooves instead of feet and will give themselves away by, accidentally uncovering legs of an animal with goat hooves. Okay, they can even engage in sexual affairs with humans and produce offspring. If they are injured by someone, they usually seek refuge or possess the assailant's body, requiring exorcism. And so when you do get on YouTube and you look up a lot of exorcism videos, they are going to be of someone being exorcised of a jinn. So Jinn do not usually meddle in human affairs, preferring to live on their own in their own tribes. However, I have heard stories of, let's say, musicians being hired by a group of jinn, and they don't realize that it is Jinn that has hired them until they actually play at the event, and maybe they see a few flashes of the hooves underneath the gowns of the people that are dancing, although dancing is not really something that's done in that culture. So, individual Jinn appear on charms and talismans. They are called upon for protection or magical aid, and often under the leadership of a king. Many people who believe in Jinn wear amulets to protect themselves against the assaults of Jinn sent out by sorcerers and witches. A commonly held belief maintains that Jinn cannot hurt someone who wears something with the name of God written on it. While some Muslim scholars in the past had ambivalent attitudes towards Jinn, contemporary Muslim scholarship increasingly associate the Jinn with idolatry. So they often shapeshift into the form of animals with clothed hooves and the legs of an animal. Now, when they shift into a human, however, they are said to stay partly animal, and that's where we get these accounts of part of the body being covered up and not, not to give away their animal appearance or their animal shape shifting. So they stay partly animal and are not fully human. So when they're trying to portray themselves as human, a lot of the body is going to be covered. Now, although the power of Jinn usually exceed those of humans, it is conceivable that a man could kill a Jinn in single combat, but feared for attacking without being seen. Some sources even speak of killed Jinn, leaving behind a carcass similar to either a scorpion or a serpent. Despite that, they're often feared and highly avoided, much like the Celtic Sidhe. Okay. The Jinn, also pictured to befriend humans or have romantic feelings for them, very similar to the Celtic Sidhe. According to common Arabian belief, soothsayers, pre-Islamic philosophers, and poets were inspired by the Jinn. The Arabian poet Allah Shah, and I'm sure I butchered that, is said to have gotten his inspiration for his poetry by a friend called Mishal, and further calls him his Jinn brother. Similarly, there were other poets who later converted to Islam and became known as the poet of the Prophet, referred to his Jinn friend as a sharp-sighted brother from the Jinn. So there's lots of documentation about relationships between humans and Jinn. Let me check for questions really quick. Hello to my beautiful lady, Brenda M. Sideris. Good to see you tonight. I'm glad that you're here. Okay. Let's see what else we can scrub up about the Jinn. There's documentation about jinns teaching humans certain things like the arts of healing. Now, this is similar to accounts of certain angels teaching humans talents like that, I guess. The Jinn are mentioned in the Quran approximately 29 times. And according to the Quran, Muhammad was sent as a prophet to both human and Jinn communities, and that prophets and messengers were sent to both communities to minister to both communities. Although throughout the Quran, humans and Jinn appear frequently as a pair, designating their equal status in regards to their creation and rejecting that Jinn share divinity with the Creator. They were both created to worship God. Because they are supposed to worship God from free will, they are both capable of good and evil deeds. So they're kind of in the same situation as us, but they exist in a different realm. And because they exist in this different kind of fluid dimension and fluid realm, they can flux in ours and out of ours at will. And they have so many similar characteristics to the Celtic Sidhe, who also exist in a alternate dimension that is fluid. Let's see if we have anything else on the Jinn. Smokeless fire is the thing that they're most described as. And so when you say smokeless fire, to me that means maybe the person is seeing actual fire, but there's no smoke that is attached to the fire. Maybe the fire is not hot. Now, the smokeless fire, which is possibly the reason why they are credited with some extraordinary abilities such as invisibility, transformation, ascending the air like air devils, air devils in the desert particularly. Despite some superhuman powers, the Jinn occupy no fundamentally different position in the Quran than humans. Like humans, the Jinn have no knowledge of the future. Like humans, Jinn face limitations regarding hidden things and have to rely on God's messengers and they do face a type of judgment. Because humans and jinn are capable of procreation, Muslim jurists dealt with the issue of permissibility of intercourse between the two types of creatures. And then there was a kind of a quote that refers to this, and I don't know exactly where the quote came from, but it said that the hour will come when the children of the jinn will become many among you, which what that means to me is more jinn procreate with humans than we know of. And then it also says, among you are those who expatriated, and this, he explained, meant crossed with jinn. And so these quotes are coming from some text that I looked up, and they were in reference to the things written about the jinn in the Quran. So you may want to look up the references maybe in the Quran, and I'm sure that there's somebody online who has taken excerpts from the Quran, so you wouldn't have to look through the whole book to find these. But so yes, I'm tired. It's 7:23. I'm ready to put my feet up and relax for a while. I hope you guys enjoyed this little excerpt on the jinn, and I hope it gave you a little bit of enlightenment about exactly what they are. They're more like us than we really know, kind of like the fairies or the Sidhe, the Celtic Sidhe. And really there are so many accounts of similar type of creatures all across the world. In almost every culture, there are, documents about similar type of creatures. And so I think that the possibility that these things really exist is very high. I feel like they do. That's just my personal opinion, being that we have so many cultures that recount the same type of things. And in each culture, that it's got a little bit of a difference, not a whole lot, but maybe a little bit of a difference. But they all have the same abilities and the same powers, and they're just all pretty much like us, but they live in this fluid-like state where we can't. We're more solid state, and I think that they're more in a fluid state. So there you go. You guys have a great week, and I will see you next Monday night. Kisses from Kentucky, and I'll try to keep you guys updated on stuff as it becomes apparent to me. Bye, guys.